This is a quick review lesson on how to write captions for our publications. Any good photo is made better by a great caption. The difference between taking pretty photos and being a photojournalist is, as photojournalists, we tell true stories, and those true stories often need explanation. Take these photos, for example. There's a lot of questions we have. Let's get into it. We have 8 rules that I laid down that help us know what to do for really good captions. So here we go. The first rule of writing an action caption is to use an active verb. Don't use verbs that end in ing. We're looking for jumps instead of is jumping. This is one of the most common errors that people make when they write captions. The second rule is make sure you are writing in present tense like it's happening right now. No ed verbs, jumps instead of jumped, because in the photo that you're describing, that action is happening in the moment. That's our rule for that one. The third rule is make sure when you name a student, and you should name the people in these photos, that you give the student's grade level, their first name, and their last name. So you'd write Junior Brooks Hall instead of just Brooks or Brooks Hall. In Holmes journalism, it is not an excuse to say that you don't know the person. I didn't know who they were. It's your job as a journalist to track down who that is. Ask people who are in that organization. Start with people in your journalism class. A lot of times we solve those problems because someone in journalism knows them. Go to coaches, go to teachers for that topic that you took photos of, and get the names that way. And then always cross-reference the names with our student schedules. We want to make sure that we're accurate with how we spell the names. The next rule is that if for sports or student leadership positions, include the position they play or any title whenever possible. Okay? So you need to include that student council president and their first name, last name. Varsity quarterback, first name, last name. Make sure you have that information in there. Again, that's information you probably don't know that you will need to track down. And it's your job as a journalist to track that down and make sure we have accurate information in there. Rule number 5 is if the photos of a group of people, name the individuals most important to understanding what is happening in the photo. If it is a photo of 4 or more people, sometimes you can just name the group. We try to name individuals whenever possible. Even in a group of a photo of 4 people, usually if it's a really good photo, there's 2 people that are clearly the center of the action or something like that. So we're going to try to name them whenever possible. This is another rule that usually trips up some of the students on staff, and that is for teachers, administration, or other adults, we still use first and last name. I know you guys are super respectful and you feel like that's being disrespectful. For journalism purposes in our writing, we include their official title. We don't say Mr. Singleton. Instead, you would write journalism teacher Matthew Singleton. Holmes principal Ada Bulkin. Make sure you always use this format when referring to adults. Rule number 7 is sort of what makes a good caption great, and that's including as much detail as you can about the circumstances and setting of the photo. The most important information is the information that we can't see in the photo. To get this info, take notes at events when you can to help you remember, or again, go ask the people in the photo or that were at the event what was going on in the photo. Get that backstory. If I have a picture of 2 football players celebrating, that's great. But if I know that they're celebrating the one game we won this year and it was against a rival at homecoming, and this was the winning touchdown that they were celebrating, that picture is now more powerful. The last rule is that once you have that caption, we also write what we call caption lead-ins. And a caption lead-in is like a little title, a little headline for your caption that engages the reader. Think of it as a little title. And it's 3 to 4 words that go before the caption that sort of tease what the caption's about, that draw the audience in. It's almost like a little title. Every caption you write needs one of these as well for us. Let's look at some examples of bad captions versus good captions. The caption for this photo says the homecoming queen laughing. This is no good. You can take a look at that and figure out why it's no good. Here's a good caption. Senior Genesis Briones reacts with joy as the announcement is made that she is homecoming queen. Heavy rainfall at the game. almost prevented the crowning from happening on the field. There's your name, your grade level, we have active verbs, we have present tense verbs, we have extra information that gives us what we need. And I always like to have students figure out what would you do for a caption lead-in for this photo. And the best one I've ever heard is reigning queen. Playing with the word rain and rain like a queen reigns and it rains outside. Brilliant. Again, this is an example of a bad caption. Notice it uses an ing verb. There's not a lot of extra information. At least they got the naming right, but there's a lot to be desired. Let's look at a good version of this caption. With a flourish of color, sophomore Victoria Rodriguez practices her flag routine after school on an exceptionally hot afternoon in September. This routine would later play a part in the band-winning district competition. There's that extra information. And again, we would need to come up with a caption lead-in before this. One last example for you so you make sure you understand the difference between a good caption and a bad caption. Here's a bad caption. Junior Ray Martinez break dancing while students look on. That doesn't tell me hardly anything I don't know except for this guy's name. That's not a good caption. Let's look at a good version. Junior Ray Martinez strikes a scorpion move with precision as he breakdances to music played by the yearbook staff during sales week. A crowd of mostly underclassmen look on during fourth period lunch. Now, this photographer finds out what the name of that move is because he goes and finds Ray Martinez and asks him, what move are you doing here? What was going on? And he gets that information that makes that caption good. That's what we're looking for when we do captions. Make sure your captions, no matter what publication you're working on, follow this format. They have a good caption lead in, and we're good to go.